In this week's 2-minute message, we are talking about worry and how to deal with worry. Matthew 6:25 says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?" Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Can I be candid with you? I read Matthew 6:25, and I do not think about food or clothes when worrying. For some of us, perhaps worrying about food and clothes is a part of the worry of life, but for most of us, our list of concerns is a little more complicated, or at least we think they are more difficult. Life seems more complex than it was in Jesus' day. I sometimes feel like this passage doesn't apply to me because I worry about things that seem much more complicated and realistic in my life. Did Jesus have our lives in mind when he told us, "Do not worry about your life," verse 22? The more complicated things that we may worry about. Car accidents or being injured in one or not able to pay for the insurance after an accident. Aging ungracefully and being struck with Alzheimer's or some other debilitating disease. Cancer. The price of gas. Criticism from others. Losing a job and not being able to find another one. Terrorism or biological attack which will directly affect us, or sexual predators or other evil characters are hurting our children and grandchildren. We look at that list for some of us, and you say to me, "Thanks, now I have 8 more things to worry and fret over. I hadn't thought of any of that." For some reason, all of these worry issues seem so much more complicated than what Jesus describes in Matthew chapter 6. So, what if Jesus did write this passage to us? What if we included more complicated issues into what Jesus said? Perhaps then we might feel that he was speaking directly into our lives. Jesus is speaking to us when he says, verse 26 of Matthew 6, "The believer looks at the birds in the sky, that does not reap nor gather into the barns, and trusts that the Father will provide." In this verse, Jesus tells his followers not to be anxious about food, but to rely on God as the birds, who are worth far less than people, are fully provided for. So, we as believers are to look at the birds and claim the promise in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 19, "And my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus." In his weekend message, Pastor Dell shares from the book of Philippians the 5 steps we need to take to make worry a visitor and not a resident in our lives.